Yeah, that was on mute. So sorry about that. Welcome back to Sniper Gains. My name is Ian Maigua. I am a futures trader who specializes in trading the CRT model. Now, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a quick overview of the progress we've made so far. We're going to take this out, take that out, and we're going to go here. So yesterday, we were able to close a successful winning day. It took 3 trades to get the job done. If you want to know what happened, definitely check out the London and Asia session streams that I had yesterday, which was 22nd. But yeah, it was a wild ride, but we were able to walk out green for the day. Now, I'm going to take a look at the price action and see where we are. So one thing that I've been eyeing at the moment has been the metals. So if we take a look at it on the 1 hour time frame, specifically gold, because I like to use gold as the leader of the metal movement, you'll see right now it's been pushing up and it almost looks like it wants to push up past this 50 EMA. Obviously, it's experiencing a little bit of resistance as it's going to that 50 EMA, but I'm anticipating that hopefully it will pop out. While we're waiting for this, I'm going to be looking at the other metals. One metal that has definitely caught my interest is going to be the copper. So if we remove the drawings, you will see that we're currently on the 6 a.m. candle. Yep, 6 a.m. candle. It's about to close in about 5 minutes. So this is a unique sign because if it's red, there's a good chance it will sweep the bottom. And I'm hoping that the bullish SOR dots and it being above the 50 EMA will carry it up. But of course, there are no guarantees when it comes to something like this. But what I am going to do, though, is I am going to start marking out the hourly candle. So this is going to be the 6 a.m. hourly candle. So we'll mark it out like this. Then I'm going to put my vertical lines. So I mainly use the vertical lines as a way to distinguish the manipulation hour. If you're not familiar with any of these words that I'm saying, make sure to watch this stream. I will need to create a dedicated video that explains how I personally trade the bullish and bearish CRT model. I just need to get some time at some point to create the video, but when I do, I will create it so that way I can always refer you guys to that video that kind of shows you the fundamentals of trading this system that I use, known as CRT. I've just added a little modification to it just because that modification has helped me to be more consistent with my profits. So that right here is going to be HG. Silver is also catching my eye. It has technically swept the 5 a.m. candle. And I'm looking to see if it by any chance formed a fair value gap. It seems like it did not form the fair value gap. So it's okay. We'll just have to wait until the next hour. Now I'm going to take a look at gold. So we have some very interesting price action. As we approach the 50 EMA, we are in a unique spot where either it will crash down or the momentum, which is shown by the bullish SOR dots right over here, these little tiny dots, will hopefully break past this 50 EMA line. So this is just a battle going on with gold. So we'll just keep an eye on it to see what happens. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Now, if we take a look at the equities, we are pushing upwards, but we're still below that 50 EMA. So whenever I have a conflict of interest like this, I just have to wait and see what to do. So one of the key things that I do is I use the 50 EMA to judge the directional bias. So any hourly candle that's below the 50 EMA, I'm going to be looking to short. Any candle above the 50 EMA, I'm looking to go long. And I use these dots to kind of help gauge momentum. So anything above shows bearish momentum. Any dots below shows bullish momentum. So at this moment in time, it's basically a waiting game. I'm just going to be seeing what's going on, see if we have any opportunities that I can take advantage of. So that's pretty much it, kind of just waiting to see. Now, in terms of news, we don't have any news listed or any red folder news listed. So we should be good. I shouldn't be seeing any kind of crazy moves. Now, this one over here is saying it's a medium impacted news. So I hopefully doesn't cause a huge spike, but you never know. So we'll see what happens. So looking at SI, let's see, what it's doing. Nothing yet on this end. Let's see HG. HG was the one that really caught my eye because it is fully above the 50 EMA. It has the bullish SAR dots. And sometimes, on rare occasions, a copper can move on its own and deviate from what gold does. So it has that unique characteristic. So we'll see what happens in the next hour. So we're about to go to the next hour. Right now would be 6:59 a.m. Eastern time. So we're waiting it out. And I'm just going to put this on mute. Gotta get some water in me and we'll get going. Okay, let's see what happens next. So if you take a look at the hourly candle on HG, that's going to be the 6 a.m. hourly candle. We have this strong bullish candle pushing towards the top. If it pushes towards the top, then this becomes an invalid. Okay, let's see what happens next. If this sweeps the top, then this becomes an invalid CRT setup for the 6 a.m. accumulation hour. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to put an alert on this. Oh, it already touched it. Oh, never mind. It touched it already. Okay, let's see what the other ones look like. All right, so still keeps going up towards that 50 EMA. Based on what I'm seeing, I feel like it will push past this 50 EMA, but we have to wait and see if we're going to trade gold. I'm just going to put an alert on gold to see what happens on that end. Now let's take a look at silver, see if there's any openings on silver yet. So silver right now, it's going to be forming the 7 a.m. hourly candle. My hope is when this candle completes, which will take about an hour, it will have a sweep at the bottom of it, so that way we can continue up. That would be awesome, but we will have to wait 1 hour on that to see if that plays out. In the meantime, when it comes to HG, because it already touched the top of the 6 a.m. accumulation hour, this hour right here, the red candle, is no longer valid. So when a situation like this, we need to move it to this hour, which is now going to be the 7 a.m. So we're going to move that here. Move that here as well. And then it's going to be 7 a.m. as the accumulation hour. 8 to 9 is going to be the manipulation hour. And then 9 onwards will be the distribution hours. So the hope is whatever happens within this hour, when we hit 8 to 9 a.m., it will do a sweep, form a fair value gap that I can ride all the way up to here. So we have to see what happens on copper. On gold, it's still below the 50 EMA, so we have to wait for it to at least break out of the 50 EMA before I can consider any setup to go bullish. So we'll see what happens on that end. SI, similar situation to HG. It's above, which is good. It's above the 50 EMA. It has the bullish SAR dots, but we still have to wait 1 hour before I can see where it's going to sweep. If it sweeps the top again, this becomes invalid and we cannot continue the process. Okay, let's see what's going on with the equity side. I'm hoping on the equity side that because these candles right here are getting so close to the SAR dots, one concept of the parabolic SAR is the closer the dots get to the candles, like in this case, the hourly candle, the greater the chance for it to flip direction. So you'll see for a while, the SAR dots were going up, 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 and up, but the price action was being weighed down by it being below the 50 EMA. So in this little sequence, I'm anticipating that within the next hourly candle, this SAR dot will flip up. And if it flips up, then I can start to look for some shorts on NQ or ES. ES is getting real close to flipping the opposite way. So I will have to keep an eye on that as well. So we have two potential good scenarios. For the equity side, I'm anticipating it will go down just purely based on the technical analysis that I'm seeing at the moment. But on the metal side, I'm anticipating it will keep going up just based on the technical analysis that I'm seeing at the moment in time. So pretty much this is going to be a waiting game. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. And we just have to wait it out. I'm going to see what's going on CNBC just to make sure nothing crazy is happening. So let's see. Okay. Let me see. Wow. Volvo car shares jump 40%. Man, that is insane. Let me see this. Sweden Volvo car is on track for its best ever trading day after reporting stronger than expected earnings. It's stronger than expected third quarter profit. Wow, 40%. That is insane. Are we allowed to trade Volvo? I wonder if we can trade Volvo. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Oh, man. Guess we can't. Wow, that's crazy. That is insane. That is crazy. Okay. Let's see what else is cooking today. To Starbucks workers united to set to vote on strike authorization. Okay, Elon Musk said Tesla robot will be incredible surgeon, left Wall Street with no guidance on EVs. All right. Okay. Let's see. Not seeing anything too crazy today. So we should have a normal day, hopefully. Hopefully, but you never know with the stock market. It can just change at any point in time. Okay. All right, back to the charts. Okay. You see what I was telling you guys? Take a look at ES, right? See how it's going up, and then now with the shift to the new hour, it has shifted bearish. This is a very good sign because if it flips bearish, hopefully it can go up, sweep the top, and we can just ride that down. But we'll see what happens. So I definitely want to keep an eye pretty much on everything right now. That's one of the perks of trading the London or Asia session. You can kind of be ahead of the big move before New York session is aware of it. So that's one of the reasons why you kind of notice in my streams that I typically have Asia session and London session. Most of the times the big moves, especially for this trading strategy, tends to thrive very well during Asia and London. But anything can happen, so you always want to just be prepared and just follow your trading plan. Okay, I'm also going to take a look at NQ, which should be reflecting a similar price action. We're also going to draw a box on that as well. Let's take a look at 6J. At the moment, 6J is something I'm kind of being a little cautious on. Keep in mind that the distance between the star dots and the distance between the star dots and the hourly candle was very big at the start of the momentum. But as time is going on, it's starting to get closer and closer and closer to the hourly candle itself. So there's a good chance it might flip and reverse. So I have to be kind of cautious with that. I feel a little bit more comfortable with this one just because it's at the start of the move. So there's a good chance that the possible, and that's the key word, possible bearish momentum is going to write it down, and we can kind of write it down for hopefully a large gain, but we'll see what happens. Okay, update. We're about 40 minutes before the next hour forms. So main thing is I'm hoping with this bullish candle right here, which is going to be the 7 a.m., that it kind of closes a little bit lower. Yeah, the reason update. So, like I was saying, I'm hoping that this candle right here is going to close a little bit lower because I wanted to try to sweep the bottom so I can find an entry or find a possible entry to go long. So we'll just wait it out, see what we're doing. But I think what's catching my interest right now is most likely going to be the equities. And here's why. So with 37.46, you see how the buyers are starting to buy up here? This can work to our advantage because if this momentum does keep going on, then going towards the next hour, it may possibly sweep the buy stops located right here. So if it sweeps, then I'm hoping it'll make a bearish fair value gap so we can drive it down. That's the game plan, but this is something where I have to be patient and just wait it out. So we're definitely going to be taking a look at the equities. So let me move my box here a little bit. And then make sure this box is here too. Okay. So definitely that's catching my eye. And we'll see what happens. So this is mainly just a waiting game. Obviously, we can't rush the process. We just have to be focused, disciplined, and committed to executing this edge. So, executing this edge. So we'll see which one gives me an opening. Based on what I'm seeing, it seems like GC is taking its sweet time to break that 50. But I'm hoping within the next 1 or 2 hours, it will at least break past this 50 because that can trigger a lot of bullish pressure for people to kind of go long. So I'm really hoping it just keeps flying up. But right now, it's just going up and down, but it's gradually moving upwards. So that's a good sign. And also we have a pretty good distance between the hourly candles and the parabolic SAR dots. So that's also a very good sign as well. So it just needs to keep that momentum, keep going up, and then we may find a possible entry. We're getting close to the 35-minute mark. So let's see what happens, especially on the equities. The equities is the one that really catches my interest because of this large wick. So normally, if you're seeing a large wick at the bottom, it means there's a lot of buying pressure. If you see a large wick at the top, there's a lot of selling pressure. Now, this is a unique one because even though there's a lot of buying pressure going up, what I am anticipating is that the 50 EMA plus the beginning of the bullish SAR dot is going to push that price downwards. And if it does push it downwards, there's a good chance it can form a fair value gap, which I can use to drive price down towards the bottom. That's kind of like my analysis on the setup at the moment. Obviously, things can change. It just depends on what hand I'm being dealt with. So we'll just see what happens. We just got to wait till that next hour. That next hour is going to be very important in determining how I'm going to pivot over here. Because right now I'm in this gray undecided stage until I can see a sweep. So we just have to wait it out. Okay, just an update. It seems like HG is really pushing hard. So we'll see what happens. Because if this happens to be very strong momentum, it means going to the next hour, there's a good chance it will just sweep the top. And that means we'd have to kind of continue the cycle of adjusting the new accumulation hour. So we'll have to keep that in mind. On this end, again, we don't really have a play yet. It'll just take 30 more minutes for me to be able to see if it's going to sweep up on this side. If that happens, there's a good chance we might find an entry. Or if it's going to sweep the bottom side, and if it does that, then that means we have to adjust the accumulation hour. So we'll see what happens. We just have to be patient. Because with the way I trade, just in case you didn't know, the maximum trades that I can take in a day are 3. So the idea is if that first trade is a winner, I close the trade for the day so I can kind of stack up my winning days and improve my win rate. Let's take a look at kind of how I do it because there isn't really anything going on yet. We have 30 minutes anyway. So we're going to take a look at the account, right? If you take a look at, let's just say, the equity curve, and this was from August. So if it's August, we'll go here. So August represents the day the account was purchased on Topstep. So we start on August the 1st. And then we're going to go to present day, right? If you take a look, it's a slow but steady progress over time. This is one of the key things that I've been doing. In order to build this equity curve, there are a few rules that I typically have been using to help me manage my risk. The first most important rule is 3 strikes, you're out. For me, I cannot take no more than 3 trades in a day. If the first trade is a winner, hopefully at least above $200, then I close for the day and wait until the next session, which is typically Asia session. Rule 2 is the actual way I risk. If you've been taking a look at what I have, I copy trade because I don't like trading each account individually. For me, it's not as efficient. So because I'm taking on more risk by copy trading, I have to be stricter on my risk management. So my risk management is very simple. If my profit balance is from $0 to $3,999, I can only risk $250 to $300 max per day. And that includes fees and commissions. Now, when I surpass 4,000 plus, then I can risk 10% on the account. But typically, even within that 10%, I split it or try to split it in thirds. So that way, if one is a loser, but the next one is a winner, then the next one will easily compensate for the losing trade. That makes a big impact because you'll start to notice that on my average losers, they're about $116.18. But on my winners, they're about $358.75. So keeping that nice average win to average loss helps me out, especially with my strategy, because as you can see here, it says it's 41.38, but that doesn't really showcase all the trades I've taken because in those mix of trades, there are emotional trades, there are other trade systems I've had. If you want to see a more accurate view of it, when I go to my playbook and I click on a bullish CRT, let me see here. You'll see I've actually made a profit of $8,808.76. The win rate is about a 50%, while the profit factor is about 3.38. So that is the bullish side. Now on the bearish side, I've taken about 8 trades. The profit factor is about 2.53. So it's still something I'm working on. But at the moment, I've made $1,482.72 with a profit factor of 2.53, also 50%. So on average, the systems are about 40 to 50%, but I try to make sure that my profit factor is pushing at least like 2 to 3, ideally more to give me a nice buffer. So that system is what has contributed me to getting to this stage, because at some point in time, I used to have the funded accounts, but in the beginning of January, but over here I was doing random stuff, random strategies. And then I went into about 6 months of drawdown, which was long and tiring, but I was able to use a strategy that I've put on pause at the moment that really pushed my strategy, my account up. And then once I got into the green, I adopted the CRT. And ever since, it's been pumping and pumping and pumping and pumping. So the CRT has really been helpful because it helps me to limit my trades and helps me to get high risk to reward trades. So just to kind of show you, like over the past few months, if I go to the date range. So right now I know we're in October, but let's just say in September, from September 1st to the 30th. So like here 1, and then we're going to go here to September to the 30th. You'll see I had an average win about of 43.48, profit factor of 2.6. And again, even with that, there are still emotional trades or trades that deviate from the plan as well. Also, the next one is if we compare how we're doing this month, it has definitely improved. So let's take a look. This month, we're going to go to October. Go here and go there. We've made about $5,375.32. And this is based on the 2 Topstep accounts that I have, the total sum. Win rate about 47.62, profit factor 3. So that's good. That's healthy. Now, with that in mind, my goal is to close the week strong. Ideally, I would like to close above 1,000 for the week when I'm combining both accounts. And then the last week will be here. The goal is to be able to get a $1,000 payout per account. The main idea of the reason why I'm being very conservative is I'm trying to transition from working my 9 to 5 to doing this full time. So for me to do that, I need to build a buffer. So game plan, it's pretty simple, is I'm going to be stacking payouts, boom, boom, boom. When I hit about maybe 5,000 to 6,000, then I'm going to buy 2 more combines. So with those 2 combines, I'll put it in. I'll let them run naturally, kind of following my risk management rules, because at that point in time, I would have, a good amount of payouts to pay for those 2 combines without having to rush it. Because again, I'll be copy trading it, and I would kind of adjust to those accounts for a little while, grow them to about 4,000 each. So that way, at least I have 4,000 per account. And then if we get to 4,000 per account, I may bump it up to 5,000 on each of them, because at any moment in time, if I am being called live, I want to at least have a $20,000 buffer. So that way I can be able to, make on average at least about 1,000, maybe 1,000, 1,500 per day, just like taking an average trade. So that is the goal. And when you are moved over to live on Topstep after 30 days, you can get access to daily payouts. That will be a huge thing. So I'm definitely excited about that. And I'll see if I know eventually at some point in time, I will probably be moved to live. I'm just in the beginning process. So I'm just trying to take advantage of this time that I have now to stack my accounts. So when I'm called live, then I can be able to really maximize the daily payouts that they have on the live session. So on the live, for the live funded Topstep traders. So that's my aim. That's my target. So that way I can really start to maximize my accounts. And that's the game plan. So that's pretty much the game plan right now. I just have to wait for an opening. So 20 more minutes. Once with those 20 minutes, probably we'll see some interesting price action. At the moment, GC is still climbing strong. It's taking its sweet time, but it is simply trying to push past that 50 EMA. When it pushes past it, it'll be really, really nice. So the price action on copper is looking very, very, very strong. It's both good and bad. Because if it's too strong, I'm anticipating that the next hour will most likely sweep the top. And if it sweeps the top, then there isn't an entry for my model yet. So we'll see. And then I'm just checking on the equities as well. Okay, let's see how SI is doing. SI is also picking up steam as well. And GC is still taking its sweet, sweet time. I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm hoping this is a consolidation for a pop up instead of it just going here, forming a bull flag towards the bottom. Because if it's towards the bottom, that will take a long time. So hopefully this bull flag, or I think what you'd be calling a bear flag, doesn't come to fruition, that it pushes past the EMA. Because if it doesn't, it starts dropping, that would be very annoying, because that means we'd have to wait a few more hours just to catch a trade. So I'm hoping it just keeps going up. Just keep going up. Don't drop. Just keep going up. But we'll see what happens, because this is really looking like some sort of bear flag setup, which I don't like. But we'll see what happens, man. Because the other metals are up. They are ready to go. Like, they're, firing on all pistons, right? But GC is starting to take its sweet time. So I'm hoping this is a consolidation to pop up and not a consolidation to just drop down and continue its bearish trend. So that's something that's a little concerning, because by now it's 6:46. I would have anticipated that it will pop up and keep moving. So we'll see. So let me see if the bullish volume is going up, because right now, taking a look at it on the hourly, we did see a pop in terms of bullish pressure, but keep in mind there was a lot of selling pressure that formed that shooting star. So right now it's not giving me a decisive increase or decrease in bullish volume. It's just stagnating. So we'll see what happens. Whenever a new hour opens, that's when we tend to see a new, like, I'm not going to say a surge in volume, but you start to see like a pick up in price action movement. So we're going to wait that hour. We have close to 12 minutes until the next hour. Yep. So we're at 9 minutes and 39 seconds. So let me kind of give you an overview of what I'm seeing at the moment. At the moment, I'm seeing that the 7 a.m. candle is a very big bearish candle. This is both good and bad. It's good because it means that we are moving towards that bearish direction, but it's bad at the same time because within the next hour, it will most likely take out the low, which does not give me an entry. It would mean I'd have to keep waiting for a good candlestick pattern that I can use to enter. So you see like how it's pushing pretty hard right now on ES. Kind of gives me a situation where I have to wait and see if it'll give me an entry. Kind of having to wait, but we'll see. We have about 8 more minutes until that next hour, so that way we can see. But it's definitely picking up a lot of bearish volume on NQ. And if that's happening, I'm going to take a look at GC. I'm hoping that it will do the reverse and start to go up a little bit more, but you never know. In regards to SI, silver, and copper, very strong 7 a.m. hourly candles. Very, very strong. So we'll see if it'll give us an entry or not. Okay, we got about 4 more minutes left. So the goal for the equities is I want the next price action to sweep the top of the box instead of the bottom of the box. If it sweeps the bottom of this box, we'll need to move the accumulation hour to a different hour, the next hour over. So that applies to ES as well. 6J, no setup. HG, same thing, but on the reverse. I would want it to sweep the bottom so we can go up. If it sweeps up, then we have to move the accumulation hour to this hour right here, which would be from 8 to 9. Same thing applies to SI. And then as for GC, it hasn't broken past the 50 EMA. It's basically consolidating in a bullish uptrend. My hope is it will push rather than drop. But anything can happen, so we have to just be aware of that. Okay, we got 1 more minute. So I'm going to be eyeing all of these tickers. See, with gold right now, I don't like what it's doing because it's about to, well, it looks like it's about to drop past this to form this bearish fair value gap. Like, no, let me rewind that. This is a bearish flag setup. So the hope is it does not break this bearish flag setup, because if it breaks this bearish flag setup, it would be a valid drop to the bottom. And that would mean that these two, unfortunately, would start to attack. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. We might have something on SI. So let me pay attention. Okay. I'm going to set an alert right here. But I'm also going to have to keep an eye on gold to play this a little bit safer. If it does sweep the bottom, I will have to be patient enough to wait until 8:55 for it to form that manipulation candle that will show that it has closed inside of the range if it sweeps the bottom. If it sweeps the top, then there's no play. We'll have to move to something else. So that's the key thing, because I feel like it should hold. It's just when I'm seeing this, I'm a little bit more hesitant on it. Like if this candle like breaks the 50 EMA and it's a really strong bullish candle, then I may adjust to enter before the end of before 850, the 855 candle prints, right? But it all depends on what gold wants to do. I'm using the 855 close, right? Just to make sure that that manipulation out has at least closed inside of the range. If this doesn't pop, like this needs to pop hard. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be a little bit more reserved on SI. HG has already, let me check. It's about to pretty much sweep the top, which means that there isn't an entry for me yet, but there might be an entry for me on SI. So I'm going to put my alerts on both ends to see where it sweeps first. If it sweeps this one first, then there's no entry. If gold can break out of this, that would be awesome. Now let's take a look at the equities. So equity wise, unfortunately, like I thought, it swept the bottom. So there isn't any, this accumulation hour right here isn't a valid accumulation hour. So I have to move to something else, which is not a problem. So we're going to do this. And we're going to start to draw our box. Going to do the same thing on ES. $6J is tricky. So it has what I'm looking for, but it's getting real close. So this one would be, it depends on the situation, because those candles are coming up pretty closely to it. So if there was a little bit more distance, I would feel more comfortable. But because it's getting real close, I may have to skip out on 6J just for now, because I wouldn't want it to now form and enter and the hourly candle or the parabolic SAR is like right here. Because if it is, then there's a good chance it might flip. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. But the one that's really capturing my interest is going to be the SI trade. So with that being said, let me at least start to set it up on my trading view. So we already did that. So I'm going to clear that out. We're going to go to the 1 hour time frame. And what I'm looking to see is that this candle sweeps the bottom right here and then forms a 5-minute fair value gap that I can ride up. So at the moment, my main focus is going to still be SI. Basically, the story is this. There are going to be either two scenarios that will happen. Either it will shoot up, break out of this 50 EMA, or it's going to drop. And I'm anticipating it's going to drop hard if it goes this way. So if that's the case, we may have to be cautious about this, but I'm hopeful it will push up. But the way it's consolidating and the way it's not breaking out of this 50 EMA does have me a little bit concerned, because I don't want to get caught up in a flip direction. So I have to wait and see what gold is going to do. Will gold push up, or is it going to go down? Because that's where I can kind of see if I have enough conviction to trade bullishly if gold actually starts to show some sort of sign, that it wants to break this. Because by me looking at this, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's going up, but it's taking its sweet time to consolidate. So whenever it consolidates, that's when I have to kind of be alert just to see what will happen, because I need it to show its hand. I need to see if gold is going to show its hand maybe now, maybe in about 2 hours, where it will either push up with strength or push down with strength. So that's kind of where I'm at, because I feel like it should be bullish, but based on how the price action is going, I'm going to play it safe and allow it to first either, like for example, if I was going to place SI, and if I had a bullish bias, I would wait for it to first sweep, form a fair value gap, but wait for the close. The reason why I'm waiting for that close is to give gold enough time to show me if it really wants to break down. Because if it breaks down pretty hard, then I can have an idea of how to pivot. But until it does, I'm going to try to buy myself as much time as possible, because at the moment it is going to sweep the bottom of the SIL candle. So I'm going to go to SIL, which represents micro silver. So that's like my main focus at the moment. So if it's sweeping here, I want it to go up, but I have to look at gold at the same time, because gold typically is going to influence the directional bias of silver. If gold is dropping, silver will inevitably drop. But if gold is pumping, it will go up. That's why I'm kind of in this situation where I have to wait to see what gold will do. I need it to show its hand. And one thing I'm looking for is to see if this hourly candle will close strong bearishly or up bullishly. So this is like the deciding hour for me personally to know where to pivot. So this one will be 8 o'clock. So we'll let it do its thing. And while it's doing its thing, we'll just wait it out. 1 sec. Okay. So with that being said, what I'm going to be doing is I'm taking a look at the hourly candle on gold. So at this moment in time, we do have what looks to appear as a bearish flag setup, right? It's a bear flag setup. So if this candle closes strong towards the bottom and does not close inside of this hourly candle, then there's a good chance it will probably drop and continue its downward movement. So that's why I'm waiting for gold to show its hand. Right now it's 7:15. I want to see how it closes. If it can close bearish, then I'm going to look to find a short entry. But if it can close bullish and close inside of this range right here, let me mark it out, then I would feel way more confident in going bullish. So that's why even on the SI trade, I want to wait for the 55 candle to print, because this can go either way. So I really want to focus on this. Now, the reason why I'm not going to try to do a CRT trade on gold specifically is because it's below the 50 EMA. If it were to successfully close inside of this box after the 8 o'clock hour is complete. But that's where the SI comes in, because it has already swept. It would be fulfilling all of my rules that I'm looking for. 50 MA above the 50. We have the parabolic SOR dots is bullish. The only thing I'm just waiting for is this close of this candle. If this candle can close in an ideally strong close inside of this range and go above it, then I would feel a little bit more comfortable in taking a chance on SI. If this candle pushes down and has a very strong close below, then the SI trade, I'd have to put it on pause, because SI typically will follow gold's movement. HG sometimes can go on its own. And yes, on average, it will follow the movement of gold, but there are these rare occasions where copper is just going to go bullish and then goes going bearish. I don't know why it deviates like that sometimes, but when it comes to silver and gold, they tend to move generally in the similar price direction. That's why I have to just keep an eye and see what gold is doing. HG has not given me any setup I can take advantage of yet. So it's more in the back burner. So I'm just going to move it here. The main one is SI. That's the one that captures my eye. But it depends on how this one closes. That's the reason why I'm being cautious and waiting just to see. So let me put this. Just put this to the side on here. I want to see how it closes over here. But let's just say it so happens to close bullishly after the hour closes, then I can look into SI and see if there's a bullish setup. So at the moment, nothing too crazy, but I do want to just be aware of it. So let me go to SIL, because that's the one I'm actually going to be trading. So in the meantime, just in case it does go bullish, I'm going to be doing a little bit of prep work to see how I'm going to enter the trade. Let me take a look at the other tickers. So for ES and NQ, they're still going very bearish. 6J, this is also another one that's unique. So let me also look at this, see if there's any opening. If there is an opening, we'll see if it makes sense. Ugh. Okay, there is a gap, that's for sure. Let me see if it would make sense to even touch this trade. 1 second. So I do like the fact it's a 1 to 3. That's good. But I want to see if it'll cost me too much to take this trade. 75 bucks. 225. Not bad. Not bad. But because of the taxes and fees on this, I would have to bump up to at least 4 units for it to be around 300, so I can at least close positive on the day. Now with this one, because it's getting pretty close, I'm gonna just simply make sure it closes in that the candle that forms during this hour, which is going to be the 855 candle, closes inside of the box. If it does and leaves this fair value gap, I'm willing to take that trade because it's just risking about 100 bucks. That's not too bad. I don't want to risk more than that because the thing about the Japanese yen is it costs me a lot of money in terms of fees. So for example, I'll kind of show you guys. If I go to my risk management, let me see here. And I'm scrolling down to see, you see 6J. So that's 324. Now 324 times 4 is fee of $12.96. So $12.96 from 300. It's not bad. 300 minus $12.96. We'll be projecting about 287.04. Now, this one would be one of those trades where I would just mainly focus on just hitting the target and not pushing my luck just because of the star dots. But again, we have to wait and see. So I will at least be eyeing this for sure. Let me see here. So that one, it can at least get a good chunk of my priority. So I will usually be moving these lists around just to see where I should prioritize my focus on a setup like this. But if I were to do this, it would have to be for 4 mini contracts. And this is amount gained after fees. If it were the real deal. And with this one, I'm going to have to be very strict about waiting for it to close. So when we look at the chart at 855, the candle has to close inside of this white box. If it closes above, then this is an invalid setup. If it closes inside, then it would be a valid setup. And also, I want to make sure it forms that fair value gap, because as long as the fair value gap is formed, we can still definitely use it. So I'll definitely keep that at the top of the list. For GC, I think it showed its hand. There we go. So GC is going to have a very strong bearish downward trend. We still have to wait. But when I'm starting to see something like this, if this candle does not close inside of the range, then this is most likely going to be a bearish push downwards. which would suck because that means there wouldn't be a play for a few hours. So here you will see silver is also dropping too, because they tend to move in sync with each other. So that's one of the reasons why I'm mainly focused on seeing what happens next, because gold can do anything, especially within 30 minutes. It can just go all the way down and then just have a big push, right? But we have to be patient enough to wait for it to close. This is going to be one of those times where I have to really be very firm about it, because if it closes below on the 1 hour time frame, then that means this could be a bearish setup to go down. So it officially had formed the fair value gap. So this would be good. It fulfills the first criteria. But the second criteria, which is more important, is I need it to close inside of the range. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on the Japanese yen and see if it will close inside. If it can close inside of the range, I'm willing to take that risk on $100 to push it to about 300, because the risk reward is good. I just have to be patient enough to wait. Now, it could fill and go all the way down. That is something I'm just going to have to let go of, because we are really getting close when it comes to the Sir Dots. So I don't want to push my luck yet until it can close at least inside of that range. If it can close inside of the range, I'm going to bet that the price will go back and retap that fair value gap. And then when it retaps it at that zone, then I can drive it down, just because we're starting to get real close. We still have a good amount of distance between this hourly candle and this SAR dot, the parabolic SAR dot over here. But because it has been going down for a long time, there's a good chance it might want to go and do a flip. So at least bare minimum, I need it to close inside. So that's kind of my analysis on this play in particular. And if it were to do the setup, I would be willing to risk $100 to make 300 after all the fees, which are kind of expensive. We would be able to walk out with $287.04. So I'm just going to wait and see what it shows. And now, as you can start to notice, it's starting to show its hand a little bit. We got 32 minutes. So I'm going to keep an eye on SI, see if it's starting to form, or SIL. I'm sorry about that, guys. I meant SIL. So this is where it gets a little dicey, because gold wants to go up, but I gotta be patient on this play, just because I don't wanna rush this one. I wanna make sure I play it by the book. So let's just say if I were to take this trade, it cost me about $90. This time, I'm gonna stick to the $90 because I don't want to risk 180, and I'll just more target to here at 340. But there's a benefit that if it does play out the way I think it is, it can push up pretty hard. So what I will do, because I'm up on the week, so let's take a look on the week. I'm up on the week by $470.73. If the trade were to go in a way where, well, it all depends on what gold does anyway, but let's just say it does form this fair value gap, bullish fair value gap, and we get about a risk to reward of 3.72. I would be willing to try to push it even further. And the way I would do it, if it does present itself, it all depends on how this goes. If it does present an opportunity, what I would do is I would use the extended line to kind of figure out my levels real quick. So from here to here, it's a total of 3.72. So I need to mark out where I would have, let's say, the risk reward of 2. Just as an idea, it hasn't finalized yet, but I do want to have like an idea of what I would do just in case this opportunity presented itself. So here I'll put in a 1. Maybe I should do this on the SIL trade. Let me actually do that on that one because that's where I would actually trade it. So let me go to the SIL. We are going to go here. Draw the box. Okay, then we're gonna go to the 5-minute. Because right now it's looking like it wants to pump. Let me see if I'm gonna, ooh, all right. See how it's pumping on GC? So this was basically a fake out to the push to the top side. So I'm gonna have to play it by ear now. Ideally, if it forms a fair value gap, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it if it forms that fair value gap. So while it's doing that, I need to run my numbers real quick. And I just need to know where I'm at. So right now it's about a 2.4. So it might be more of a style where I just hit the target. So we're going to do that. But I still need to run my numbers and see how much it would cost me. So if I go with a micro SIL, let me just remove the drawings, try that again. I'm going to take a chance on pushing it further because this would technically be the trade and I'm up on the week anyway to see if it will allow me to do so. So let's say, for example, I took the trade around here. I'm anticipating that at least we'll have that gap that will keep it solid. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to go up here. So right now, at the moment, it's at a 2.4. So if it's at a 2.4 and I were to take this trade, okay, that would be a risk of 125, which is within my risk for sure. And then for a profit of about $300, which is not bad. If I were to do that, I could probably just go and try that style. Now, I could go to a 3.472, a slightly lower entry. If I were to do that, it would then allow me to use my trailing system where I can be able to push the trade a little bit higher, but it depends. So if I go for 3.47, I'll be risking $95, which is not bad. So let me put that $95 plus about like 204. So we should be around $97, which is well within my risk. I wouldn't be over risking. I would be even slightly under risking, but gives me a little flexibility. So I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go here, but I need to change it to match this. So it's 3.47. It's a risk to reward. 3.47. Bam. And then if it's 3.47, I want to change it to a 2. And you'll kind of see why I'm doing this right now, because I'm anticipating that it will push up pretty hard. So I want to put that there. And now it's just a matter of waiting for a fair value gap to form. I would be using one contract or one mini contract, which is going to be, if my numbers are right, $95 plus 204 would equal 97.04. Okay. It's not mini, it's a micro contract. Sorry about that. Okay. Just in case it forms a fair value gap. It hasn't formed it yet, but I'm anticipating it should form the fair value gap. So we'll see. We'll see. Keep an eye on GC. It's pumping the way it's supposed to. 67.6 is good enough for me. I just have to be patient enough and just wait for the fair value gap to form. This would be my entry. That would be my where I want it to go. If I go to my trades, I choose SIL. Yep, it's 204. So we shouldn't risk no more than $97.04. So that's good. And I'm going to go check on that. So that's good. Okay, we got the micro contract. And then now, let's see if it will form a fair value gap. So the only thing that's missing here is a fair value gap. It's 8:35. We have until 8:45. So it's 8:45, 8:50, 8:55. That would be the last opportunity for a fair value gap to form. So we are going to have to just be aware of it. I would be taking more of a slightly lower entry or a late entry, because I'm trying to see if I can be able to push this trade up even more, but I do have to have good risk behind it. So over here, we'll wait and see what the price action does. I'll take a look at HG, see if there's anything. No, nothing on HG. Okay, let's take a look at the other equities. Yeah, equities are just dropping. They're dropping too. Maybe in the next hour there might be an entry, because you never know. So we'll just keep an eye on the equities as well. But at the moment, SIL has my full attention. Okay. And just to let you guys know, so pretty much gold is pumping up pretty hard. So that's awesome. So that's going to be like a strong push up, because I feel like that will be the push that will break that 50 EMA. Okay, So with that being said, that's why I'm mainly focusing on SIL just to see if there's an opportunity. Now, the reason why I'm going to have to use a late entry on this is because if this is a very strong move and if I were to take it at like a point over here, it would change my risk reward to be 1.18, which would be horrible. But the benefit of it first forming that fair value gap and having my entry at the bottom is I'm anticipating that when it fills, it'll go into drawdown first. If it goes into drawdown, then I can have a better risk to reward. It's something I can take advantage of. But that's why I have to be patient on this one. And this is one of those times where I would want to use a late entry instead of an early entry, because the risk would be a little bit too much if I didn't have it set right here. So keep an eye on it. We'll see if that gap holds. That's going to be that 5-minute fair value gap. We'll see if it'll hold. Now, I wish that it wasn't so far away, but I'll just simply set my entry over here. So I'm going to do that even right now. I'll go here, limit buy, set it right here, because that's where I feel more comfortable. Because I was trying to see if I can push this price up. If I wanted to not push past this zone, I would then have to look for a different setup altogether. But I really am trying to see if I can get a 3.47 or higher, and would want to try to push past the zone. So this would be a 2R, just in case anything were to happen. It has a deep pullback, but for right now, we want to see if it'll hold, because that distance is pretty far. I don't know if it'll go into super drawdown to catch my entry here, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we'll have to see if it'll even have that 5-minute fair value gap. The way it's going, it seems like it wants to eat through it anyway, which kind of sucks. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so unfortunately, it has filled that gap. So we have to wait for a gap to open up. So good news though, this is the 840 candle. So if the 845 candle can start here, maybe form a bullish fair value gap, that would be awesome. That would increase my chances of getting the 3.47. Technically, this should be fine. 3.47. But let's just see what happens. And now officially gold is about to pop out of here. So that would be huge. Now for HG, that's also going to be good for it too. It actually has 16 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Now, I don't know if it'll have a pullback to push up with it. That's the only concern with HG, but I'll keep it at least having the system in place just to check and see. So that would be the 8 o'clock accumulation hour. This is going to be from 9 to 10. It would be the manipulation hour. So I'll also keep an eye on HG as well. We'll move it up a rank. But main focus right now is going to be, oops, I really have to be careful about that because it hasn't formed the fair value gap. 1 second. I needed to form that fair value gap. Just form a fair value gap starting with 8:45. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. So this is going to be the critical 15 minutes. So ideally, what I want to see is 8:45 starts around here. 8:50 forms a bullish fair value gap. 8:55 ensures that that fair value gap was created within the manipulation hour. If I see that, entry. If I don't see that, then no entry. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, all right. Let's pump in. Give me a fair value gap. Give me a fair value gap, man. Give me a fair value gap. Okay. So I'm also looking at the equities as well. There might be a possibility for a bearish CRT setup. 6J, yeah, that's not going to happen. It's going to flip out. So 6J goes at the bottom of the list. So at the top of the list is SI, second followed up by HG. GC is essentially going to pump. It's just going to take a little bit of time, but I believe it will pump out of here at some point. But then you still have the sleeper, which is the NQ and ES. They're looking to probably go bearish. I mean, it's already bearish, but to give me a bearish CRT setup. So we'll see if that is the possibility, if that's possible. So I'm going to take a look. And also we'll inspect that one as well. Okay. Now it's showtime. That's the 45 candle. So ideally, in about 3 minutes, it will make a decision, and I'm hoping that the 50 and 55 will form the fair value gap. That would be ideal. Okay, we have 1 more minute until the 8:45 candle officially closes. So we'll see if the 8:50 candle and 8:55 candle form a bullish fair value gap. We are pretty high over here, but it's not a problem. Sometimes that's where the late entry can come in. I've noticed that over time, even though it feels it, there's a good chunk of the time that price is going to go into deep drawdown and then go up. That's why I sometimes will modify it to you either using my 5-minute fair value gap or using a late entry if I want to reduce risk. So in this case, it's one of those scenarios where I feel I should use a late entry, but I gotta see if it'll form that fair value gap in the first place. If it doesn't form it, no trade. So this candle right here needs to close above. If it doesn't, no trade. While that is cooking, I'm going to be taking a look at the NQ trade, see if there's any opening. Yep, GC is moving pretty strong. HG is also going to be moving pretty strong as well. I'm hoping it will sweep the bottom, maybe form a fair value gap to keep pushing even higher, but we'll have to see. SI definitely wants to push up higher, but it needs to form that 5-minute fair value gap, and it would have to have a pretty strong bearish huge drawdown in order for me to be able to enter the trade at that point. So based on how this is going, realistically, I may have to go for a simple 2R setup because the drawdown will be just way too much. I don't think it will go all the way down here. So let me adjust. Let me see what that would look like on SIL in terms of risk, because risk is also a big part of this. So it would be more of like just to hit the target and go. So let's see. If we were to go with like a 2 and we were to do it that way, and we bought a SIL, it would be a lot more expensive. So I would need it to be around 2.4. Yeah, around 2.4 for me to consider the move. So let me make that adjustment. 2.4. I'm going to move my line here. But all of this is going to only matter if it forms that 5-minute fair value gap. If it doesn't even form it, there's no play anyway. But if it does, then there might be a play. So that would be a risk of 125 plus 204. That equals 127.04, which is good in terms of risk. But again, we have 2 more minutes for it to show if it will form the 5-minute fair value gap. If it doesn't form the 5-minute fair value gap, then there's no trade. But this is just an entry, a possible entry that we could take advantage of. So we're going to put that here. But let's just see. So we may have to abandon the idea of trying to push price even higher, just because right now it might not be the best move in terms of risk management. But if I'm just stick with a 2.4, I think we could make something work. But this candle right here needs to form a 5-minute bullish fair value gap, because if it doesn't, then there's no trade. And we have 1 more minute. If it does not form that close above this candle right here, then there's simply no trade. So we are going to have to patiently wait and see if it will close above this zone right here. Okay, that's 55. I don't think it will form that fair value. Yeah. No trade on that, unfortunately. Okay, it's not a problem. Not a problem. Yeah, that's a no trade situation. Okay, so we're just going to remove that drawing. We're going to go back into the board, try to see if we can find another game plan. So we're going to remove drawings, take that out, and we're going to move this down. Let's take a look at HG. So HG is looking promising. I'm hoping it will go sweep the bottom when we go to the next hour, which is going to be from 9 to 10. So let me move to HG over here. And we'll start off with the micro version of it. So that way we have enough room in terms of risk. Now with this one, because gold is pumping pretty hard, if MHG does create a bullish fair value gap, then I'm going to take it immediately. Because we are about to approach the New York session, so we're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive with our entry. And then just anticipate that it will close inside of the range. So that's what I'm going to mainly focus on right now. And I want to, let me look at HG real quick. I like HG. So we're going to go with HG. If the risk is a little bit too big, then we may have to skip it, but we'll see. Okay, 9, 10. Okay, so the idea and why I'm shifting to copper is I'm anticipating when the new hour begins, which is at 9 o'clock, it will already have swept the bottom. And I'm hoping it will form a bullish fair value gap that we can enter on and go up. So looking at gold, it's pushing up pretty hard and it's about to pop out of the 50 EMA, which is a good sign. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. On the equity side, it's also pretty good because it's forming this candle right here. However, I need to make sure that when it forms the manipulation candle, it closes inside. If it doesn't close inside, I may have to skip it. Just because it can get volatile, and this could easily be a situation where it's sweeping 7 o'clock hour to go up. But that's what I'm saying with this one. It looks good, but I gotta be patient enough to wait for the 9 o'clock manipulation hour to close completely to see if it closes inside of the range. Because what we're trying to avoid is a situation like this with what do you call it, a 6J, where it just shot up and just completely smashed through. That's the main focus. Now on gold, because I'm anticipating that gold is going to push much harder, if HG gives me even a slight entry that I can take advantage of, it is in my best interest to take that, because we might not necessarily get another chance on HG during the New York session. So this is why I'm saying I definitely want to take advantage of that if it does present an opportunity. So we're about to begin the new hour in about a minute. So we'll see what happens next. Okay, so we're officially into the new hour. Now the goal is I wanted to sweep the bottom right over here, keeping an eye on GC. It's pumping pretty hard at 77.6. So when gold starts to do this rise, you definitely want to take advantage of trying to enter. Now, obviously, anything that I'm saying is not financial advice. If you take a trade, you could lose an insane amount of money. If you don't like losing money, don't trade, right? So keep that in mind. This is not financial advice whatsoever. I'm just simply detailing what I do on a regular basis, which so happens to have helped me to make a lot of money. Well, to make a lot of money like at a higher level as I'm honing this craft, as I'm working on being very good at CRT. The whole idea with this journey is I eventually want to pivot out of working a 9-to-5 job and to do this like full time. So it's a work in progress, but with this system, I feel comfortable and confident enough that over time, I will be able to try and make that transition, and that will be like a really good thing because then I can be able to take my life to that next level. So it starts with the charts, though. So HG, please sweep here, sweep this line and form a fair value gap so your boy can enter in. So let's see. Come on, buddy. Now I really want this to go down, sweep this, so it can sweep all of the sell stops that have accumulated during this hour, during the 8 o'clock hour. So that's like my main focus right now. I just need to see that sweep. And while it's doing its thing, I'm also going to be looking at the equities as well, because with the equities, I feel like it will go downwards, but it all depends on the price action because I don't want to take a huge risk. What I'm going to do on the equity side is this candle right here has already swept the 8 o'clock hourly candle. The only goal is just to make sure this hourly candle does two things. Number one, if we zoom into the 5-minute time frame, we see that it has already swept, so that's checked. But it needs to form a 5-minute fair value gap, bearish 5-minute fair value gap, and this is the most important part because I'm dealing with equities and they can get kind of volatile, is by 9:55, it has to close inside of this range. If I see a bearish fair value gap and closes inside of the range, I will take that trade. Like without hesitation, because everything else aligns and it would be considered what I like to call an A+ setup. So with the NASDAQ, I'm just going to see if it will form a fair value gap. That's like my main focus at the moment. So I'll definitely keep an eye on that. But in the meantime, I'm mainly focused on HG to see if it will sweep the bottom. So my attention is going to be on both these two important tickers, HG or NQ. NQ, I'm going to look to short NQ, but on HG, I'm looking to go long on HG. HG has an advantage that gold is pumping, like it's pumping hard. It's at 81, while over here, let me see. Let me do it on the hourly. So it's already starting to break past the 50 EMA on gold. Now on HG, it's well above it. So what I'm anticipating is, if I zoom in, come on TradingView, work with me, is that it will sweep the bottom first before going up, at least. But if it sweeps up, then this setup would be invalid and would have to adjust to a new accumulation hour. So in the meantime, these are the ones that really have my interest. HG for the metals, going long. NQ for the equities, going short. I want to see which one will give me the entry though. NQ is looking pretty saucy at the moment. It's starting to create a nice bearish displacement. And this is 9 o'clock. This is 9:05. So if the next candle forms and gives a bearish fair value gap, it would have completed part 1 of the setup. Okay, there we go. It would have completed part 1 of the setup. Now the only thing left is it has to close inside of the box before it touches here. So we'll see if it will make it. Because right now, taking a chance on this, it might get a little risky if I don't wait until 8:55. So I'm going to play it safe on this one. So, but on the other one, I'll take it immediately. I just needed to sweep the bottom. Just sweep the bottom. Let me see what that looks like. So for ES, it didn't sweep the top yet. But I'm going to keep an eye on it as well, just to see what's going on. So you might be wondering, you're kind of shifting through a lot of stocks here and there. The reason why I have to do that is because it helps me to at least capture, one good solid trade per day, sometimes 2 or 3. So that's why I'm kind of shifting between my list. But these are the equities that I use: NQ, ES. For the metals, it's HG, GC, SI. And then for the currency, it's 6J, which is the yen. So I will typically toggle between each one of these just to see where I have the best opening to take advantage of. Okay, so it has officially swept HG, so I'm going to have to start to look to see if there will be any kind of entry. And if that's the case, I want to see on average how much I would be spending in terms of taking this trade. So let me kind of get an idea of what a 1 to 2 would look like. Kind of curious. Ooh, that is expensive. That is expensive. Let me see if MHG is going to give me a cleaner setup then. Yeah, I'm going to go with MHG on this one because that can be kind of expensive for me to risk for one trade. Okay, so if we do it on MHG, we should have a pretty good. Basically, we should be able to be within that risk of 133, like around that price point. So that's not too bad. I do like that. I just have to get another trading viewpoint to look at NQ specifically. So let me look at NQ real quick. Yeah, this thing is about to probably sweep the bottom, but let me see if it did take out. It never took out the swing high at 855, which would have been the highest point of the 8 o'clock accumulation hour. So if that's the case, then we'll just keep an eye on HG. See here. Still kind of expensive on that one. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Give me just a few minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So as you can see, copper has decided to do a big push. Now I'm going to see if I can be able to take advantage of this opportunity. So let me see here, see if we're within our risk. Okay, at 93. All right, let me pull something up real quick. I need to know my numbers. MHG is 124. 124 is a lot. Okay, 124. Let's say times 6 is $7.44. So 6 contracts, 744. 744, 744 for 6 contracts. Here, let's just say we change that to 6 and we go to here. That's more than enough. 6 contracts is good. So we got a game plan. It's time to execute. Like I said, when it forms this fair value gap, I'm going to enter as quickly as I can. Make sure that the way I've adjusted it. Ooh, let me make sure. Hold on. I want it to be to the pip, so it's more like 731. That's 127. I may have to drop that by at least 1. Man. Yeah, I may have to drop that by 1. Well, based on the time, F it, we're going to add 1 more. 127, that 7, it'll be a little bit over, but that's okay. So 6 is what we're going to go for. So there we go. All right. It's 312. We're anticipating that it would walk out with at least maybe 397.50, which is still pretty good. I'll just take that and not, push my luck too much. So MHG, bam. We have it set. We know where we're going. So we shouldn't be risking no more than like $140. So here we go. So the idea is it's going to be a fill, push to the top. Now, I'm going to play this one conservatively because we are about to hit New York session, and I'm kind of a little bit cautious about that. Let me make sure my numbers are right. 127.50. 127.50 times 6. All right, it's 744. So you're looking about 134.94. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. So projected risk is 134.94. Let's see, what it does. So the reason why I'm being pretty aggressive, as I mentioned before, is that gold is pumping, right? It's at 93.8. So with that being said, we might not have the luxury of it, waiting until, what is it, 950 for the 955 candles to form. So if it doesn't form and it has already filled and gone, then it would basically be out of the setup. But if we just enter here, we're going to have to take the risk or the gamble that it will hold this bullish 5-minute fair value gap and push. If it doesn't, then it would be a loss of 134.94 after all the fees are taken into account. It's still a worthwhile trade setup because everything else is aligning for me. The question is, will it fill this gap before hitting the target? So that's what we're going to focus on and see. While that is running, I will take a look at NQ, see if NQ is going to also provide a good setup, because this one is also doing a pretty good setup too. I can't ignore this either. This has profit potential, but this one I would want to wait, especially pushing towards that hour. I want to wait and see if it will hold. So that I'm willing to wait and see. So let's just say this is what, 1450. Let me go to MNQ and try to do it there. So we're going to go to MNQ, same process, just checking to see. So both of these are pretty good setups. I just need to see which one will pick for the stream today. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go that. I definitely want to wait and see if it will form a CRT, just because whenever I'm dealing with NASDAQ, as much as I can, I want to be absolutely sure that I did everything I could possibly do before entering the trade, considering we're almost going to enter into the opening of New York session. So that is obviously a huge concern, because what I'm anticipating is when New York session hits, it'll probably take out that high. But if you can at least close inside of the range, it's still a good setup to go with. But that's why I'd rather wait on that one. On gold, on the other hand, the way it's pumping, I cannot just, leave it to chance. So if it does hit this target, no problem. But if it does give an opportunity to just do a quick fill, I'm willing to take that risk, and I'm willing to risk 134.94. It's within my risk parameters, since my profit balance at the beginning of the trading day is going to be $4,259.72. So this is good risk management right here. I just have to wait and see. How much should I put? Should be 6, not 3. Should be 6, not 3. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me go to layout. Okay, that's cool. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I need 6 contracts, not at market, but at limit. And it needs to be 507.25. Let me just say 506.80, just so I know it does not tag me in. Not buy 16. I just want 6. Just 6 contracts, guys. Man. 506.80. There we go. There we go. I literally said 6 contracts. Come on, bro. 1. Okay. 506.80. There we go. Thank you. So this part is good. This part is solid. I'm anticipating, yep. Yeah, I took it out. It's the good news of waiting. You gotta wait. You gotta wait and wait and wait. So now we have to see if it'll close. If it can close inside, I'm willing to then take the trade. If it doesn't close inside, then no trade. So it's up to the market. Okay, so it seems like HG or MHG is going to reach the top before filling this gap. It's not a problem. It just means that we're probably going to have to keep looking and seeing. Now, let me see how long I've been on stream. Okay, I've been on stream for about 2 hours and 38 minutes. No trades yet. So we'll see if there's any trades that will open up during the New York session. That will open up during the New York session. Okay, so here we go. Just keeping an eye on MNQ. So ideally, here's the game plan. I would want to make at least about a 3R trade on this if it were to present a 3R trade opportunity. So if I go with the original, it would be 1.71, which is fine, but ideally would want to be around a 3R. So if it goes, and let's say it closes inside, then I would put my entry here. 3 micros is what I would be willing to risk for something like this. So 3 micros. So let's see. Right, going with a sell. Not on the NASDAQ itself, but MNQ I meant. So let's leave this one. Meant this one right here. Just trying to run my numbers first to see where it makes sense, where it does not make sense, kind of like that. So obviously I'd be wanting to utilize a late entry. Sorry about that. I'd want to use a late entry setup. So maybe around a 2.5 would be okay. If it does close. I don't know if it will close or not. It's just we have to kind of keep that in mind. But let's just say if we were to close with 3 micros. With 3 micros, let's see what it show. Sell. Limit. Okay, so 3 micros, it would be still pretty big. Even at a 2.48R, let's see. Reduce. That's a 162. That's still way too big. So if you drop it to 2 of them, it's not bad. So I'll probably use maybe 2 micros around 3R if possible. But the way it's moving, I don't even think it will close inside, so it's all good. My main one that still captures my attention is going to be the HG. If it can go fill the gap and push up, then that would be awesome. But we'll see. Let me take a look at gold and see how it's doing. So there might be a possibility on gold, depends on how the price action moves. A silver, it's poised to go up, but it never gave me an entry. Well, yeah, it hit the target, but it never gave me an entry to enter the trade. So I couldn't take that trade on silver. So I'm going to take a look at HG, see if it will fill that gap. If it fills over here, no problem. We cancel. and then we try again. So it seems that HG is going to sweep this area before filling in the gap. So if that does happen, we'll have to hunt for another trade. Okay. Let's see how HG is going to do this. And I'm also going to pay attention to what SL or SIL is going to do. Silver. I'm just going to say silver. It seems like there's a strong pump going into it. So it's getting pretty close on the ES. On NQ, there's still a little bit of distance, but we'll see what happens. Okay, hey, we might have something. So now it's forming a red candle. Now I don't know if this is just a sweep just to go all the way up, but if it does go all the way down and fills the gap, I'll be willing to take that trade with the hope that it will fill the gap and push up. I've made sure that my stop loss is at the lowest part of this manipulation hour. So I've done everything I can in terms of stop loss placement. I know how much I'm risking. 6 contracts is going to be the total amount for those 6 contracts. And that includes the fees, the adjustments. So that way I know my number. And with it being 3.12, we are anticipating that we should make about like 300 plus on the trade. Let me check on MHG so it can tell me. So MHG, if you take a look at it and I pull up the 5-minute chart for those 3 contracts, if we do our thing, I mean, it's supposed to be 6 contracts, by the way. Sorry about that. 6 contracts. Right? We're anticipating to make 397.50 minus, 397.50 minus 744. So about 390 is the projected profit after fees. So it might just be a simple sweep to push all the way up, but it also might be an opportunity for it to push down, fill the gap, and then go up. So we'll see. So right here, it essentially formed a hammer candle. Now it's going to be 8:45 pretty soon. Oh, I mean, it's going to be 9:45 pretty soon. I'm in Texas, so I'm saying 8:45, but it should be 9:45 because everything I'm doing here is based on the EST time frame. So with this being said, I'm just kind of curious to see if it will fill my gap first before hitting the top of this box, or if it'll hit the box first before filling my gap. If it does the latter, then this trade setup is invalid and would have to look for another one. And NQ is flying. So this thing has decided it wants to break out of this. So it's most likely going to break out of this position. And now it's a matter of trying to see if we can get a setup. I'm hoping silver could give us something, but unfortunately it didn't. But I'm trying to see if HG will do the same, but there's a good chance it will sweep the top. So we'll see what happens. You never know. You just have to Follow the trading plan. Follow the trading plan. Okay, it is definitely pushing down quite aggressively. Okay, so if I go here, I'm going to click escape, go here, official chart, refresh. That gets me back to the normal page. Okay, cool. Okay, that thing is moving. Let me get ready. Let me get ready. Let me get ready. So, as you can see, that red candle is really pushing towards to fill this gap. Now, if it fills the gap, we are gonna enter immediately based on the time. It's 8:47. So by the time it fills, we probably would have closed inside of the range, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Yeah, to me, the HG or the MHG setup is an A plus setup. The only question is, will it fill this gap right over here? Or is it going to hit the top of the box here? Because if it can fill the gap, I'm willing to take a chance to push it back up. But I have to wait until it fills this gap. Okay, so we're waiting for it to go down, but now it's kind of on this limbo state of not going down yet. So I'm trying to see where it's going to pivot to. So I'm just on my hands waiting, just to wait for an opening. So it appears that it's now starting to push up. So I'm wondering if it will just simply tap the 5-minute fair value gap and shoot up. If that happens, it's all good. We'll just have to look for another play. But if it can fill the gap, then I would absolutely enter the trade because it would be a good trade that I can take advantage of. So we'll see what it does. It just depends on the price action between now leading to the next hour, which is going to be the 10 o'clock hour. The way that candle or that bullish engulfing pattern that I'm seeing form right now, it's most likely going to sweep the box before filling in my gap. So we'll probably have to look for another setup. It's just, it has a lot of strength behind that push. So if I take a look at the volume, you'll kind of see like it's starting to pump up a little bit. But we'll see. Like I said, you never know. Okay, it's gonna sweep it. We'll wait for the sweep before we cancel the order. Okay, let's see if it will pop out of that box. Okay, I'm going to anticipate that this thing is going to pop. So I'm going to be looking for other setups. Yeah, gold is just pumping too hard. That's the one thing about gold. It's pumping too hard for me to get a clean entry. Let's see. Should I take a chance on platinum? Let's see. You know, the only issue I have with platinum is it tends to be very expensive. And there's no opening anyway, so nothing on that end. Let's see. Wow, man, NQ is flying. Wow, that's crazy. Look at that big candle. Look at that. The more I'm looking at this, the more I'm starting to notice that we might not really have a play that I can take advantage of. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's just I don't think there's any play that I can take advantage of because I don't want to force any trades today unless I see a good setup. So I'm going to take one more shot and wait one more hour. Try to see if there's any good setups. If there's nothing, then I'm just going to have to call it a night or day and wait until the next session, which should be the Asia session. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's any price action that fits my model today. So I'm just going to close the stream. Thanks for tuning in. And I can't wait to see you tonight for the Asia stream. Peace.